Hey guys, what's up? We are back with some more reactions after dark, and we are, of course, going to be watching horrors from around the web by Opiuhm. This is a new channel to the Rad series. They only have 3 videos, maybe 4. One of them might be hidden. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is their very first video, and it was only uploaded a year ago. So they've made very few videos and they've only been around for like a year. So they have like, again, 3 or 4 videos, and this video is only a year old. So they should be uploading a new one soon because I've seen them post saying that they're already working on their newest video. So it kind of seems like they just make one video every 6 months. So 2 videos a year, it seems, is about their pace. So yeah, just someone I had randomly seen around. I was like, I'm finally going to get around to it since I want a break in between the Rotten Mango videos. So we were doing this. I was actually trying to do a reaction to the Amazing Digital Circus, which I had already started. I got like 6 minutes in, and I was just like, same thing that happened last time I tried to do it like half a year ago. I just can't react to shows or movies. I mean, I was doing okay when I was starting to get on a roll with the anime stuff, but like not really. We're not doing that stuff anymore anyways, just so I don't get in trouble. But anything that's just a show, I think, that's just sitting there telling a story like that, I just don't got nothing to say. Like, there's just nothing to say to that kind of stuff. It's just not my vibe, I guess. Even though I feel that's what people normally do. A lot of that is just, it's literally just them sitting there watching something, not saying much. Maybe they'll laugh at something, maybe they'll get angry at something, maybe they'll cry at something, but that's not me. I don't laugh, cry, or get angry at anything, so I can't do that. So any shows where that's the main point, I can't I can't give that. So I would prefer something we can actually just have a discussion about or speculate about and whatnot. That's I guess more my style because we're not really going to get any kind of emotion out of me. It's just going to be the same kind of mood the entire time, as you've probably seen in these rad videos. Like maybe some surprise, like a what will come out of me, but that's about it. But yeah, we'll see what this is all about. See if she is any good. This seems like a uh, new girl in town trying to get in on these kind of format of videos, kind of like the Nick Crowley, lazy masquerade type of things. So Art Bell's Area 51 station shuts down.
They are not what they claim to be. Disasters that are coming.
Now this is obviously going to be a bunch of things, I'm assuming.
That was the infamous phone call received by Art Bell on his paranormal radio show, Coast to Coast AM. In his Area 51.
But I think this first one is just about Area 51. This isn't segmented. There's no chapters for this video. So I don't know how long this Area 51 thing is going to be, but I feel like I might have heard this one, which of course is not real, I assume, if I'm thinking of the right thing. Just like the War of the Worlds one isn't real.
Special, where he prompted people to call in who were former or current employees from the notoriously secretive Area 51 military base.
So quiet though.
Coast to Coast AM is a legendary show for anyone who is a fan of the paranormal. Its host and founder, Art Bell, was known for his fascination with the otherworldly and often engaged in 5-hour-long segments wrapped up in discussions of conspiracy theories, ghost stories, and of course, alien encounters.
Yeah, I don't. Is she quiet for anyone else? Is it just me? Do I need to turn my audio up? I've turned the audio up on my side, but I don't know if I need to turn it up on y'all side either, because she's very quiet.
Art Bell paved the way for more unsettling media to be enjoyed by the masses. On his September the 11th, 1997 iteration of the show, he prompted people with a connection to Area 51 to call in and tell him their experiences working there. As most of you know, Area 51 is the name of a highly classified US Air Force base located in the heart of the Nevada desert, and not much at all is known about this location. But many theories about its connection to alien life forces have been circulating for years, especially with...
What is this picture? Like, what is that supposed to be? So man made out of metal?
How closely guarded every aspect of this area is. It is infamous for having looming guards patrolling the area, with them even going as far as to following people if they get too close to the entrance of the Air Force Base.
I mean, it is a military base, so I mean that they're just doing the job right. I would like there to be a bunch of weird stuff in Area 51 because that would make life or just existence in general cooler, but I don't believe that is the case. Uh, or who knows? But yeah, I feel that's just normal. Like if you get near a military base, like the military is going to come and be like, "Hey, you don't belong here," or you could be a spy or uh, soldiers coming to fight or something. You don't know.
So with all of this in mind, it really isn't a mystery as to why Art was interested in taking calls from people who worked there. However, no one was expecting the call to go as south as it did.
My Area 51 line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Yes.
Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time.
Well, look, let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not.
Okay, yeah, I've heard this before. I'm pretty sure this is not. This was just a hoax, but we can suspension of disbelief for now and take it as real.
Area 51.
Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They're gonna they'll triangulate on this position really soon.
So you can't spend a lot of time on the phone. So give us something quick.
Okay. Okay. What we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, I'm sorry, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Yeah, I have heard that. I mean, amazing performance though on this guy for that. But again, I don't think that. I'm pretty sure this is a hoax, but like standing ovation for this guy's performance, right?
Discharged.
Some who have listened to this may say the caller could be clearly faking it and that it was all an act. But even Art Bell couldn't predict what would happen next. After a few minutes of the frantic caller...
Oh wait, hold on. I forgot. Doesn't he call back and say he was just goofing or something?
Explaining the dangers of the government and their plans for world control, the show was knocked off of the air, and Art Bell and his producers frantically worked behind the scenes to get it up and running again on a backup server.
Here's where it gets a little bit extra.
I started getting...
Well, this was certainly interesting. We are now on a backup system, everybody. A backup system. And that one caller that I had on the air, I guess we were about in the middle of his transmission, his telephone call, which was one of the strangest ones I've ever had. And the entire transmitting system by satellite went down here, and we were notified we were off the air. And it would appear to be from this end and some sort of massive transmit failure. So we are now using a backup system to be on the air. And not that I would normally believe this kind of thing, mind you, but I can't help but wonder if somebody zapped us in some way.
When the show returns, he's unable to trace the phone call back.
How would he though, right? Well, I mean, back then maybe so, because of, you could do that stuff back then. We had everybody's name written in the phone book. You could just find somebody so easily. Back in the olden days, like that. I forgot how this actually turned out. I could have sworn he called back and it was like, oh yeah, I was just messing around. But wasn't there something about like a cafe or a coffee shop and like two guys showed up or took him away? I don't remember actually. So don't listen to what I'm saying then, because maybe this doesn't go the way I thought it does. Maybe you don't have to suspend your disbelief. Maybe it's just crazy and actually it happens.
And is unable to explain why the show was knocked off of the air, stating that this had never happened in the history of the show before. After this, the show continued as usual, and there were no more strange instances. But was the call real? Bell certainly insisted that he had nothing to do with the caller, and that it was not.
Yeah, I mean, he could have all set it up himself, right? To have this guy make the Oscar-winning performance of his life and then shut off his own broadcasts by himself to make it seem like something had happened because of this guy's call. Jeez, I cannot use this thing to any success when I'm doing these videos. It is just so ugly.
Not scripted, well, at least not by himself. But a week later, answers would come in the form of a caller called Brian, who claimed that he was the original Area 51 caller all along, and that it was a hoax.
See, that's what I'm saying. But then I think the consensus on that was that, okay, he just happens to like call back and say it's a hoax out of like nowhere. Okay, I was gonna see if this would make it better if I could just like use a small line and like do it like I would actually try to draw, but the problem with that is using so much power. Like I keep seeing OBS saying it's dying for me doing that, so I can't. I need a new computer. I need like $2,000 for like a new computer or something. It just does not. It cannot take this abuse that I'm putting it through.
Of course, Bell wondered how his show was knocked off of the air, but Brian said he had absolutely no clue and that it shook him up for the rest of the night.
You created the reality of the rest of the situation and took down my satellite.
That scares the heebie-jeebies out of me because it means that what I was saying was somehow correct and it was fabrication kind of
creating a reality.
Yeah, if that was the case, I humbly apologize to you because I love your show and the last thing I would ever want to do is
knock me off the air.
No one will know whether or not Brian is the true identity of the Area 51 caller. In my opinion, the voices don't sound too similar.
Huh? I wasn't paying attention, but I thought they were the same.
But I'll let you judge for yourself. Regardless of whether or not the story was a fabrication, it really makes you think, why was the show knocked off of the air?
Coincidence? I mean, that's always like the easiest Occam's razor option. Solar flares from the sun that day hit the satellites, screwing things up for a second.
Is there a grain of truth to the mysterious caller's story? I guess only time will tell.
Oh, I guess he unfortunately passed away in 2018. So we probably will never know if that was all fabricated or not, if he's gone now. The missing people of YouTube.
Hi Walter, I got a new girlfriend today. Now this video is another staple of the YouTube horror sphere. I'll just show you it here as it is a relatively short video. A quick trigger warning, This video will showcase footage that some may find to be disturbing.
What do you mean by that? Can this video be shown on YouTube? I mean, you're showing on YouTube, but hello? What are you showing us?
Hi, Walter. I was at the mall today, and guess what happened? I met the most wonderful girl. We went shopping at JCPenney's, and she tried on a lot of clothes.
Okay, so what is it? I mean, he's obviously acting badly here, so this is an act, but where is this going to lead? Where is this bad acting leading to?
Ended up buying a whole lot of them, you know what I mean? And then we decided to go and take a look at some of the jewelry at K Jewelers, and she picked out this most awesome necklace, the most amazing necklace I've ever seen. And I know she wanted me to buy it for her because she kept on looking at me and kept on giving me that look. You know the look. And then we got kind of tired of the mall, and I brought her back to my place. And I know she hates cameras, Walter, but I'm going to show you her anyways. You ready?
Okay, so what is on the other end of this? Is it actually a person, or is it not a person? Or I'm assuming she's tied up or something. Could be fake gore. This like crazy overexcited acting he's doing is cringe, but he's just making like an analog horror here almost. But what is on the other side of this camera? Oh yeah.
And that's the video. Many of the people who had seen this video would have left it at that. But there is more to this video, and there's a whole controversy that it summoned.
Is it? I don't know. Again, it seems as fake as possible to me, just from his acting, but is it actually real and he's just a weirdo? I mean, his personality here is just being weird, but obviously he's a criminal, if it's actually real.
In 2016, this video resurfaced after laying relatively unseen since its release in 2009. This is due to the theories surrounding it and people believing that it was perhaps linked to a real-life missing persons case. Kayla Berg was last seen on the 11th of August 2009. That evening, she was with a 24-year-old friend, Kevin Kilcheski. Sometime between 9 and 11 p.m., Kilcheski dropped Kayla off at her boyfriend's house. He stated that the house had all its lights turned off and it looked as if no one was at home. Kilcheski never actually saw Kayla go inside the house, and she's unfortunately never been heard from ever since.
Obviously, he would be suspect number one to the police, since you're the last one who saw her, but...
Now, Kayla wasn't reported missing for 6 days, because her parents, who were separated, had some unfortunate miscommunications.
Pretty short, 5'2".
And they each thought that Kayla was at one another's houses. Now, what does Kayla have to do with this video? At the time, people believed that the woman featured in the High Walter video could possibly have been Kayla. This is due to the timeline of her disappearance and the similarity between the clothing with what the woman in the video and with what Kayla was last seen wearing, which was a red spaghetti strap top. The controversy surrounding the video grew so much to the point that YouTube eventually deleted the original clip.
Sure, that would make sense, but also, if it actually is a crime, you'd need to have evidence of that video somewhere so the police can do something about it.
And
But of course we just watched the video, so that means it is up on the internet somewhere.
Police launched an investigation into the man behind it. Now, the man behind the video had nothing to do with Kayla's disappearance. The video was just a short piece of horror media that him and a friend made together.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. It was just some sort of analog horror, or before analog horror was a thing. What was it? What do they call these? I forget what they're called. Not necessarily analog horror. What is it called? ARG. That's what I was thinking of. ARG, augmented reality game. So ARG horror. but it's not necessarily quite that either. It's just a little, like a little short horror video that you don't know if it's real or not. So again, like analog horror, maybe ARG. That's why it kind of fits into those.
The police eventually dismissed everyone's claims and cleared the man's name, and then sent their condolences to Kayla Berg's family. And that was the controversy behind that particular clip. The story of Kayla Berg is a tragic one, and she has still not been found. If you have any information on her whereabouts, please get in contact with the Antigua Police Department.
Nice,
112 Dirtbag.
I guess that's it on that one. I don't know if I've seen that video before. Maybe I have, but it doesn't necessarily ring a bell. I'm not sure.
112 Dirtbag was a YouTuber who created his channel in February of 2011 and uploaded this video, which he is most known for now.
Ah, okay. I know this guy. Or I know this.
Now, this original video has since been taken down.
Yeah, I don't remember if this guy was a criminal or a file. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Or like, happy anniversary. If I can, like, I'm trying to think about what this story was. Was it someone was missing or dead, or and they linked it to somehow to this guy, and they found the body? I don't know. I don't know if they found the body, but like the body was said to be in this exact spot, and it's like links up with the anniversary or something. I don't know. Or again, like maybe this guy was a PDF file. That PDF. I don't know.
And any trace of the channel is almost impossible to come by. But there are two significant pieces of information relating to this particular video. 112 Dirtbag is another video which is thought to have been related to a missing persons case. People believe that the man behind the 112 Dirtbag video was involved with the disappearance of Maura Murray. Maura Murray was born in 1982 and was an American woman who disappeared on the evening of the 9th of February 2004 after her car crashed on Route 112 near Woodsville, New Hampshire. Her whereabouts to this day remain unknown. At the time, she was a 21-year-old nursing student completing her junior year at the University of Massachusetts. On the afternoon of Monday, February the 9th, before she left her university campus, she emailed her professors and work supervisor, writing that she was taking a week off due to a death in the family. According to her
What, was there a death in the family? Or was that just fake?
family, they had not experienced any deaths.
Yeah, so that was just fake, so she might not have even said those things. Someone else might have. So that they could, take her? Question mark?
At 7:27 p.m, a local woman reported a car accident on a sharp corner of Route 112, adjacent to her house. A passing motorist who also lived nearby stopped at the scene and asked the woman driving if she needed any assistance. She declined, claiming to have called roadside assistance. Upon arriving home several minutes later, the motorist reported that A&E services and law enforcement arrived at the scene, but the woman had since disappeared between that time. People speculate that the 112 in 112 Dirtbag's name is relating to the route that Maura disappeared from, and that the other half is relating to when Maura's father said that she might have been kidnapped by some dirtbags, and thus 112 Dirtbag was linked to Maura Murray, and is now infamous with a now deleted video titled Happy Anniversary, posted the day before the 8-year anniversary of Maura's disappearance. Now, if you don't think this is enough evidence to connect the two together, He also went on to upload a video called Maura Murray. Sorry to interject again.
Did she even interject before? It's like, is this not right? I mean, why would you keep it in if this is like not right? What are we interjecting with?
But I just realised that I don't actually explain this connection. The connection between this Maura Murray video and the route that which she disappeared on is that the Bretton Woods Mountain Resort is round about a 40-minute drive from the route that she disappeared from, and the ticket on it is dated 2 days after she disappeared. 112 Dirtbag went on to delete this specific video a day after he uploaded it, and the connection between the dates is just slightly strange. Back to the video. This all turned out to be a very distasteful joke that 112 Dirtbag found funny. He didn't have anything to do with her disappearance, and has some very deranged blog sites online and on
The heck? Emotional incest syndrome? Hello? What?
his Twitter account, where he mostly posts rambling nonsense. So it's not hard to believe that a man like that could have pretended to be a potential murderer or kidnapper without any remorse. As I've said before with the Kayla Berg case, if you have any information on the disappearance of Maura Murray, please get in contact with the relevant authorities. The M Cave.
M Cave hike. No clue on what this one could be. And we were barely 15 minutes in, and there's still so much more video to go.
Allow me to introduce you to Kenny Veach, or as he was most commonly known on YouTube, Snakebit McGee.
Okay, never heard of this guy, and she's using past tense, so I'm assuming this guy is gone or dead.
Kenny himself wasn't an avid YouTuber or any major content creator by any means. In fact, the majority of his online presence was spent being a viewer rather than a creator. However, he did leave a legacy of videos on his channel. These consisted of home designing, Shark Tank pitches, and some exploration videos. The
8
video
years
in
ago.
question, which brought Kenny to my attention, was his one titled The M Cave. This video was in a response to a comment that he left on a video titled Son of an Area 51 Technician, where he said,
"That ain't nothing. I am a long-distance hiker. One time during one of my hikes out by Nellis Air Force Base, I found a hidden cave. The entrance to the cave was shaped like a perfect capital M. I always enter every cave I find, but as I began to enter this particular cave, my whole body began to vibrate. The closer I got to the cave entrance, the worse the vibrating became. Suddenly I became very scared and hightailed it out of there. That was one of the strangest things that ever happened to me."
Now Kenny's comments sparked much debate, but people were overwhelmingly negative towards him, calling him a liar. His self
Okay, I think I've seen this as well. A lot of these I know. I mean, almost all of them I know them, right? Or I knew all of these already. I guess you're just like hitting the baseline for a channel, just going over all the old ancient horrors from around the web. And maybe her newer stuff will be more modernized. There's stuff that we have not been heard from or heard of before.
self-titled MK video was a response to all the disbelievers. The video itself is a fascinating glimpse into the harsh terrain of the Mojave Desert, and along his way he sees various small creatures and various caves, but none of which was the M cave Kenny sought out to find. His video was uploaded on the 18th of October 2014, to which many of the comments were once again calling him a liar, stating that he made the story up in the first place for attention. But Kenny was absolutely adamant and unfortunately vowed to return to the M cave once more. Now, one comment in particular leaves me with an eerie feeling, knowing what we do now about Kenny. That comment was,
"No, do not go back there. If you find that cave entrance, don't go in, you won't get out."
Sure, but that could just be, it had nothing to do with aliens, right? We're talking about
You
Area
didn't
51
listen
stuff.
to
Well,
me.
are we talking about Area 51? Someone from Area 51 started talking about stuff or not from there, but someone was talking about Area 51, but this has nothing to do with that. So what is this vibration? It just, is the cave collapsing?
warning, and on the 10th of November 2014, Kenny set out on what we now know to be his very last hike, and he disappeared into the Mojave Desert, never to be heard from again.
So we know he disappeared, so that means a body has been found, which is kind of like sucks, depending on if he is the victim here. That sucks because he kind of just got goaded into dying by YouTube commenters, unfortunately.
The mineshaft that he first began at in his original MK video is eventually where his mobile phone was found, though Kenny was nowhere to be seen near it and not in the mineshaft as the evidence may lead you to believe. Though in the wake of his disappearance, numerous videos have popped up across YouTube exploiting the M cave phenomena, with multiple people claiming to have found it, though none of which appear to bear any resemblance to the M cave that Kenny described in his video. Kenny has not been found to this day, and his whereabouts remain a mystery.
So it is just, he's just been gone this entire time. Allegedly his phone's been found? What does that mean? I mean, he could just have stopped uploading to YouTube and just created an ARG, right? Like I said, we're just assuming he just, you know, maybe died of like dehydration or something out in the desert.
Beginning our van life journey. This video is relatively innocent on its surface, and is presented as a mere vlog style footage of a couple enjoying their adventures across the USA.
Gross.
This video showcases the couple's happiness and excitement as they embark on this big journey together. However, the woman in this video is none other than Gabby Petito, and this is her tragic story. Gabby...
I don't know this person, but are you about to tell me that she dies? Is it related to water? Question mark.
Petito was only 22 when she went missing in August of 2021, only a few weeks after the aforementioned video was uploaded to her YouTube channel, Nomadic Static. She was last seen alive in CCTV footage browsing a Whole Foods supermarket on the 27th of August with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie. It wasn't until the 11th of September 2021 when her disappearance was officially reported to the authorities after her fiancé returned home without Gabby, and he refused to speak with the Petito family or answer any questions about where their daughter may be. Suspicion soon began to surround
I mean, wouldn't you just go to jail immediately for coming back without her?
Brian, and eventually his family, as they were all refusing to cooperate with the police. And on the 15th of September, Brian was named a person of interest, after going missing himself 2 days before this public announcement. His family didn't tell the authorities that he had left the premises and only stated that they believed he went hiking to the nearby Carlton Reserve. Due to the family being uncooperative and the search for Gabby becoming increasingly widespread throughout the media, a warrant for the search of the Laundrie home was officially issued on the 19th of September, and the family were forcefully removed from their home, and the authorities began searching for any clues which might lead to finding Gabby, or Brian at this point in time. That same day, remains were located in the eastern portion of the Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. The discovery was aided by another travel YouTuber who spotted the Petito van in a video that they had been editing together. The remains were eventually identified as Gabby's, and the cause of death was ruled as strangulation. Brian's remains were then found at the Carlton National Reserve on the 30th of October, just a month after he went missing.
Because they're both dead. Yeah, I'm actually not familiar with this one. I don't know what happened with these two.
Alongside his remains, which had to be identified through using his dental records, was a backpack with a notebook inside containing the following confession.
Gabby, I wish I was right at your side. I wish I could be talking to you right now. I'd be going through every memory we've made. getting even more excited for the future. I can't live without you. I've lost every day we could have spent together. I loved you more than anything. I can't bear to look at our photos, to recall great times, because it is why I cannot go on. When I close my eyes, I will think of laying on the roof of the van, falling asleep to the sight of a meteor shower at the Crystal Geyser. I will always love you. If you were reading Gab's journal, looking at the photos from our life together, flipping through old cards, you wouldn't want to live a day without her. Knowing that every day you'll wake up without her, you wouldn't want to wake up. I'm sorry to everyone this will affect. Gabby was the love of my life, but I know adored by many. I'm so very sorry to her family, because I love them. This occurred as an unexpected tragedy. Rushing back to our car trying to cross the streams of Spread Creek before it got too dark to see, too cold. I hear a splash and a scream. I could barely see. I couldn't find her for a moment, shouted her name. I found her breathing heavily, gasping my name. She was freezing cold. I carried her as far as I could down the stream towards the car, stumbling exhausted and shocked when my knees buckled and knew I couldn't safely carry her. I started a fire and spooned her as close to the heat. She was so thin, had already been freezing too long. I couldn't at the time realize that I should have started a fire first, but I wanted her out of the cold, back to the car. When I pulled Gabby out of the water, she couldn't tell me what hurt. She had a small bump on her forehead that eventually got larger. Her feet hurt, her wrist hurt, but she was freezing, shaking violently. While carrying her, she continually made sounds of pain. I ended her life. I thought it was merciful, that it is what she wanted, but I see now all the mistakes I made. I panicked. I was in shock. But from the moment I decided, took away her pain. I rushed home to spend any time I had left with my family. I am ending my life not because of a fear of punishment, but rather because I can't stand to live another day without her. Gabby, I'm sorry. I have killed myself by this creek in the hopes that animals may tear me apart, that it may make some of her family happy. Please pick up all of my things. Gabby hated people who littered.
Okay, yeah, I have not heard this before. And it's like, huh? What happened there is kind of confusing. I mean, especially since we're listening to an AI read this. But something happened in the river. She was getting like hypothermia. She bumped her head, I think, and she was in pain. And he strangled her because she was found strangled, right? He strangled her to put her out of her misery. It kind of seems like that was unnecessary. Like, you skipped a few steps there, I feel like. So I don't know if we can believe that as, like, what happens. Unless this guy is just... something was wrong with this guy. To assume, okay... Again, assuming I'm reading this right, his girlfriend got a bump on her head, concussion maybe her skull's fractured, I don't know, and she's also freezing, hypothermia, possibly, for whatever reason, and his thought is, let's not try to get her help, or just see if she can tank it and just get through the night. No, let me just strangle her to death. And then side myself afterwards. Like, okay, what?
Petito's family and many other people close to the Petito case believed Brian's confession was nothing but lies, and that
Sure.
he paints himself to be a tragic hero in this situation. But if Gabby was indeed hurt to the extent which he portrays, why didn't he take her to the nearest hospital, as he certainly had the necessary means to do so?
Yeah, I mean,
Many
he made it to the car, right?
that he was simply an abusive and controlling partner who killed Gabby in cold blood. If he loved Gabby as much as he stated he did, why didn't he come clean immediately after the fact? And why were his family so adamant on shielding him from the crime that he so obviously committed? Brian's true colours seemed to be portrayed in this released body cam footage, where a bystander reported seeing a man hit a woman, and that the woman was in hysterics. The body cam footage was when the police responded to the incident, and it's very telling indeed. Laundry is acting calm and collected throughout the whole thing, and he's the one stating that Gabby hit him and not the other way around. The police took action and separated the couple for the evening, but they reconnected the next morning. And only a few weeks after this incident, Gabby was already presumably deceased. This case is an absolutely tragic insight into a death which could have been prevented. The actions of the Laundrie family are absolutely deplorable, and the Petito family have since won a $3 million lawsuit against them for the unlawful death.
I was not expecting that. That you just sue the parents, I guess. I mean, if they let the kid get away, is that considered like a slight accomplice? I don't know. Like, to sue his parents, essentially, slash family, for money and actually getting it. That's crazy.
Of their daughter. In the wake of all of this, a letter written by Brian's mother surfaced, and it was titled, Burn After Reading. This is the details of that letter. I just want you to remember I will always love you. And I know that you will always love me. You are my boy. Nothing can ever make me stop loving you. Nothing will or could ever divide us, no matter what we do, or where we go, or what we say. We will always love each other. If you're in jail, I will bake you a cake with a file in it. If you need to dispose of a body, I will show up with a shovel and garbage bags. If you fly to the moon, I will be watching the skies for your re-entry. If you say you hate my guts, I'll get new guts. Remember that love is a verb, not a noun. It is not a thing, it is not words, it is actions. Watch people's actions to know if they love you, not their words.
I feel like I've heard that before, but I have not heard the rest of this story. I think that's just like... That's not like a new sentiment I feel like parents would have or people would have for someone else. I feel like that's honestly like a common enough sentiment from a parent that I think I've just heard that elsewhere, not necessarily here, but like parents will be like, yeah, if you're a crazy murderer, it's fine. You're my child. I will protect you, etc., etc.
Now, the letter itself seems oddly specific in relation to what happened to Gabby. However, the mother states that it was written before the couple ever went on their road trip and has absolutely nothing to do with the unfortunate circumstance that followed that August. Even if this is true, it at least gives us an insight into the type of family that Brian came from. A family who most likely knew what he had done to Gabby when he returned home without her. And if we can speculate, perhaps aided him in evading arrest by the police. Despite the tragedy, the Petito family have remained strong. They've launched a non-profit called the Gabby Petito Foundation, which seeks to help victims and survivors of domestic abuse, so that tragedies like Gabby's will never happen again.
The Petito. I thought she was saying potato the entire time, but it's petito. I'm guessing it's petito. I don't know how you would pronounce it. Maybe it's pronounced potato, but maybe it is potato. But yeah, I could just want you to saying like the word potato, and it would be spelled that way, not Petito. 2021? A few years ago, unfortunately. 99. So pretty young, but I mean, I guess you're 99's already an adult. The man who sold the world.
This photo depicts a happy scene. The man on the left is photojournalist Lanry Fehentola, and the man on the right is his best friend, artist and filmmaker Leo Reagan.
Don't know who these two are.
Lanry once said that the focus of his photography was to document the ordinary, everyday lives of real people whose stories are very seldom told. Little did Lanry know that these words would come back to haunt him in a rather sinister way. It was Lanry who became the focus of Leo Reagan's 1998 documentary, Don't Get High Off Your Own Supply. It's important to note that Lanry was also writing a book at the time of the same title. This documentary begins with Reagan commenting on how dedicated Lanry was to every project that he threw himself into. Reagan mentions an anecdote. He mentions that one time when Lanry was in London, photographing the lives of the homeless, that he became so wrapped up in their world and eventually became homeless himself.
I figured that's where that was going. But how far is this going to go even further than that?
6 years after this, Lanry had an appetite for a new project and decided to move to Bradford to investigate the lives of drug addicts. Now this is
Okay, well, is he going to become a drug addict himself?
a project that Lanry perhaps should never have touched. The opening scene of this documentary consists of Lanry sitting hunched over a tape recorder, interviewing a prostitute and crack addict called Nikki. She tells him of her harrowing story as a working girl on the streets of Bradford. Lanry appears professional and calm at first, until the mood suddenly changes, and before we can even blink, Lanry is sad.
Right. Opiuhm? What is happening in this video right now? Is she doing crack? In real time? I don't think we can show that. Hello?
On a dirty mattress, smoking from a pipe
Hello? I don't think this is allowed.
that Nikki had made for him. Lanry reveals to us that he began experimenting with heroin to aid him in his writing process. His philosophy was that he could never truly be writing an authentic story unless he knew exactly what it was like to take hard drugs.
Except the fact that you die from it, possibly, ruin your life.
Just like these people were. In his head, he justified it to himself that he could do it once, just for the experience, and then never again.
That's not how it works.
That this was all strictly for artistic purposes. But unfortunately, this wasn't the case.
It's not like taking a drink or smoking a cigarette. It's like a million times worse than that, right?
Lanry had been
Not that
addicted to heroin and crack for 6 years at the point of filming this documentary.
Wait, he was already addicted to crack and heroin before doing the documentary? I'm confused. Or is it 6 years after doing the documentary? But yeah, I've not smoked cigarettes, or I've never been drunk as far as I know. Probably not even tipsy before. I've not done drugs, like just period. I have not done any of them. Like the most I've done is smoked a cigarette, like a singular puff of a cigarette, and I didn't even like really do that. So no drugs for me, no narcotics whatsoever. Again, so yeah, no cigarettes, no drinking. So it's not like I really know how addictive they are, but I'm pretty sure we can all we just all know, like, don't do them.
This wasn't the case. Lanry had been addicted to heroin and crack for 6 years at the point of filming this documentary.
At the point.
And the progress on his book was moving at a snail's pace. As the film progresses, we learn more of Lanry's personal life, as Reagan has a conversation with Lanry's ex-girlfriend and mother to one of his children. She tells the camera how she had no choice but to kick Lanry out due to his drug habit that was becoming increasingly worse. With no home to turn to, Lanry saw that he had no choice but to surround himself with the other addicts in that area. These were the same people that he'd swore he'd only become acquainted with in the first place to interview for this book.
I'm confused on what's happening, question mark, of the timeline. Was he addicted to drugs before this, or did he become addicted because of what he was doing? I assume it was because of what he's doing, but like she said, he was addicted before. I don't know, I'm confused. Let's just assume it was afterwards, and this is the aftermath of that. Like his ex, she broke up with him because he got addicted because of this documentary or whatever that he was doing, and now he's hanging out with the other addicts.
But now, they had become a morbid sort of family for Lanray, and one of his only forms of human contact that hadn't totally alienated him due to his addiction. But investigating drug users wasn't enough for Lanray. He wanted more. He wanted to dive even further into the drug world and learn
Become a criminal?
every aspect he could for his book. And so, he attempted to make contacts with drug dealers, but they didn't want to talk to him. Never the
No,
quitter,
duh.
and always an extremist, Lanray decided that the best course of action was to become a dealer himself. And from that point onward, threw himself into a life of debauchery and crime.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was nowhere else to go but become a criminal at that point, right?
During this time of dealing drugs, Lanray was arrested by the police numerous times and was almost given an 8-year prison sentence. To anyone on the outside, his life was in absolute shambles. But
could you use the excuse of I'm just living the life so that I can make a movie/book about it? Like, is that an excuse that they let you slide for? It's like, oh, I'm only doing this so I could, write about it and to tell people not to do it. Like this sucks, don't do it.
But to Lanray, it was all part of the chase and thrill of his creative process. There is an excerpt from his book that Lanray reads about his time parading as a drug dealer, and he boasts about locking a woman in a car and stripping her naked, demanding money that she apparently owed him.
Kicking and screaming like a fat pig, but I don't give a fuck. She owes me money and I want it. Simple. Then I'm rifling through her pockets and she's trying to get down for me. And yank it off completely. Then the tracksuit bottoms, tights and knickers all in one movement. And there she is, naked. Her whole body exposed, tip. And now I'm beginning to feel doubtful, wondering why am I doing this anyway? Wondering how much more can be stripped away from this woman that she hasn't given up already? How much more violence can she endure?
As we get midway through the documentary, we're shown just how far removed from normality he is. This is only further exemplified when he attempts to interact with his estranged son. He attempts to talk to him after his son's boxing match, but appears stiff and awkward. Lanray only really seems comfortable when he's in his dingy flat or surrounded by other drug users. We're then introduced to Lanray's stepson, who also reveals that he struggles with substance abuse, but Lanray appears much more relaxed with this son, seeming to be able to relate to him on a more human level. The book isn't progressing as Lanray's suffering from writer's block, and his creativity is completely stifled by the constant use of opiates. He is documented by Reagan, hunched over his keyboard, retyping old material over and over again. He hasn't been pushing on with the remainder of what needed to be said. His excuse was that he needed to be clean before finishing the rest of the book, and that he wanted to write the end of it from a sober perspective, looking back on the whole experience. But there is one small detail that hasn't been mentioned yet.
Which
no
is? No
publisher
publish?
has actually agreed to pick up Lanray's book.
Okay, well that's a problem. I'm assuming the book still gets published. It's just who's gonna publish it.
Therefore, Lanray has absolutely no motivation to be clean or to complete it. So, Lanry's excuse to continue this abuse cycle is no publisher, no book, and ultimately no point in being clean.
Yeah, but what happens if you get a publisher? Like, how many more excuses are you going to make to keep doing drugs?
Some time passes, and it looks like there is a glimmer of hope for Lanry after all. He's finally decided to get off of heroin for good, and is being prescribed alternative medicine from the doctor in order to deal with withdrawal symptoms. He feels like his life is finally coming together again, and he is once again able to focus on his novel, and is in the process of repairing his relationship with his estranged son. But this happiness doesn't last long.
I was say, like, there's no way this is a horror video, so there's no way it was gonna continue being okay. So what happened?
Lanry is on his bed again, with a needle hanging out of his arm, reiterating to the camera.
Yeah, he seems a bit out of it, so yeah, he's almost zombied.
That he is absolutely not back on heroin, but that the pharmacy was closed, and that this was just a temporary measure to keep him calm until they opened back up again. And surprisingly, Lanry seems to desperately cling to that hope. The camera cuts to following him to the chemist, and we see him take his prescribed medicine rather than the heroin.
I said 8 weeks later. That's 2 months.
Lanry appears rather joyous in this scene, also revealing that he has cut contact completely with the other addicts and users that he had been interviewing, and that he wanted to distance himself from that world completely in order to move on with his life. There is only one other person he seems to remain in contact with from this world, a woman who
Is she like his girlfriend now?
is staying with him due to her recently becoming homeless. There is quite a hard to watch scene as she tells us that it's Lanry's responsibility to inject her veins, as she couldn't find them herself. We see this woman get excited about her fix, and it is a rather depressing portrait of someone rotting away in front of her eyes. So, this first documentary ends with Lanry being sober, and his book has finally been picked up by a publisher. All seems to be going amazing.
Okay, well, she's wording it as in he's gonna like die or something of overdosing, which is what I'm gonna assume. After another relapse, Lanry is currently off heroin. He's now on the final stages of his drug reduction program, and is no longer taking methadone.
And that's where the story should have ended,
His book is due to be published next autumn.
but I wouldn't be making this video if it did.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense otherwise.
3 years later, Reagan is in a familiar territory. It is him, his camera, and his friend Lanry.
Released 3 years later, this was recorded 12 months after the events of the first documentary. So this is a year after the first documentary.
Lanry
But they released it 3 years later.
is back to where he started, looking arguably more defeated and aged. We soon learn the news that the publication of Lanry's book has been halted due to him missing a deadline, and the reason being that his heroin use was in full swing once again. We hear Leo confront him, revealing that it has now been a full 10 years since the beginning of Lanry's initial project, and since the beginning of his addiction. The tone of this documentary is much less hopeful and much more painful to watch. Lanry is adamant to come off of heroin once and for all, and he is adamant to not use any alternative medication whatsoever. He wants to go cold turkey. The camera spends much of its time focused in one singular room, a room which is in a state of utter chaos and disarray. There are used syringes and papers scattered all over the floor, and Lanry spends a majority of his time curled up beneath his bed sheets, moaning in sheer agony.
I'm assuming he's like just in withdrawals the whole time, assuming he isn't taking the drugs anymore.
We are witnessing a man, at perhaps the lowest point in his life, begging his best friends to allow him to get another hit. This even escalates to the point of him threatening to jump out of the window.
Who's this person? His friend? Family member?
The documentary only lasted 4 days into his withdrawal attempt, and that's because Lanray managed to escape. And he left in his drug dealer's car. The filmmaker, Leo, and another friend go to a pub in sheer defeat and exhaustion. They don't return to see Lanray after this. In fact, it was a whole year before Leo even returned to speak with Lanray about his problem.
Whole year, so that's 2 years afterwards. After the events, and now there's still 1 more year before they release this documentary. Then, what happens? Is he gonna overdose? Is he gonna wind up in jail?
By the end of this documentary, Lanray finally has his book published, but still isn't clean.
His book published, but he still hasn't stopped doing drugs.
But the story still doesn't end here. A final part to this documentary premiered at a film festival in June of this year.
2024, I'm guessing? Because this was a year ago.
Called My Friend Lanray. This final documentary doesn't follow his drug use, but instead follows Lanray's journey after a cancer diagnosis. This is the last time Lanray would appear in one of Leo Reagan's documentaries. Information about Lanray's life is hard to come by outside of how he is portrayed in these documentaries, but what is known is that Lanray unfortunately passed away in 2021 at age 61, but it is believed that
At least he was kind of old. You kind of want people to live until like 100, right? But at least he was kind of old. Like, he could be considered elderly. And he still made it that far despite how much drugs he was doing. So at least he, toughed it out to that.
he lived the last 11 years of his life completely clean from drugs.
Okay, so he did get clean and was clean for 11 years. So, happy ending, but that's, happy, quote unquote, ending. So is this even, this went on for a while. It wasn't necessarily a bad ending, so where's the twist at?
Lanray seemed to finally have defeated his demons. Speaking at Lanray's funeral in 2021, his friend and director of all of these documentaries had this to say about him. He was an extraordinary artist. He embraced each and every experience with fearlessness, compassion, and curiosity. Even in dying, he wanted to document the entire process, learn from it, and inform others.
He was doing too much in vivo stuff, took in vivo way too hard.
To anyone watching out there, I know this isn't my usual paranormal or internet-orientated disturbing.
Usual. This is your very first video. What are you talking about? Usual. This is the base. The base.
Video. But I wanted to highlight this specific documentary because I think life is so much more disturbing and strange than fiction ever can be. This series documented an obscure downfall and, in a way, resurrection of a visionary man whose sole intentions were to give a voice to the outcasts of the world.
2021. Yeah, again, this is her first video, question mark. So this is the control group. So I don't know what she's talking about. She has another video, another channel somewhere that I don't know about. The Hat Man, Anomaly Explained. Oh, I mentioned the Hat Man in the Momo Ritual video by Dark Asia with Megan. I don't know too much about the Hat Man, but is the Hat Man what I think it is? It's like the ritual thing where you do a bunch of stuff and it summons them to your house, and you gotta hide and don't let them catch you. Like the Midnight Game, but the Hat Man. I'm not sure.
Imagine this. You've just had an exhausting day. You get home and settle down on your sofa or on your bed. Your eyelids grow heavy, and soon everything is dark as you fall into a deep state of slumber. Then your eyes open and adjust to this. A tall...
I mean, this is on a stairway, but what is going on here? Why is this so confusing? Okay. I'm saying it's confusing because we have this here and there. It's like the entrance to a house. But then, what is this? It's like 2 stairs here, like between these two. What is the architecture? I'm confused on the architecture here. Because the stairs going up here. Then you can see this arch here. Is there stairs like here? Is this like a mansion? And then you have the stairs going up and stairs going left and right here. And we can't see what's over here, so we don't know. Especially since she is using, as I've said before, heavy vignettes. Like heavy vignettes on this video. I'm saying again because I speak about vignetting quite often, but again, if just for example, vignettes is, say this is a video, vignette is like adding darkness to the corner, so you can add extra effects like chromatic aberration and stuff like that, but it's like darkening the edges, and you can see how like these edges are like massively darkened, so it's hard to like see stuff, and she's added that to everything. She also, I don't know if this film grain, like the graininess, you know, in here is, it did not like me doing that. Like that, the grain on everything. I don't know if she's adding that too as an effect. I think she has some sort of like old-timey effect being added as well. On top of the filled grain too, to make it look more deteriorated. But yeah. Anyways, I'm confused. Is this a porch? Is what I'm trying to get. Is this a porch? Is this inside a house? Like, what is this setup? Is this even a real picture, not AI generated?
A dark figure lurking in your hallway or at the foot of your bed. He wears a large brimmed dark hat, and his eyes are the only distinguishable feature, piercing down at you through the darkness. You try to move, but you can't. Are you dreaming? Are you awake? In this moment, reality is seemingly not separate from your dreaming state. You can feel a crushing weight on your chest and you are left breathless, but there is nothing you can do about it. Eventually, you fall asleep again and wake to nothing out of the ordinary, except from the fleeting memory of this ghostly dream from the evening before.
Yeah, this is just like standard sleep paralysis. What is going on?
This experience has often fallen under the category of sleep paralysis,
Yep.
a phenomena which has no definitive scientific explanation, was believed to be caused.
We don't know why it happens. I mentioned before in, I think, the Momo video, the last Dark Asia with Megan video, that I've had sleep paralysis probably like hundreds of times throughout my life, even as a child. Different variations as a child. Like I've had like ones that are you legitimately like you're asleep, but as an adult, they're more so of like, okay, it seems like I am awake for this, and it's not just a dream. Like dream state where I'm paralyzed. Yeah, hundreds of them. And I mentioned before that I'm just like so desensitized to that stuff at this point just to get a refresher if no one's watched the Momo video, because I'm pretty sure no one's watched it, because I don't think anyone is too interested in the Dark Asia videos, especially the paranormal ones. But like I said there in that video, I have had like hundreds of them to the point where I'm desensitized, and I'm just like, like if we're going to suspend disbelief for a second and say it's some sort of demon or nightmare, like an actual nightmare demon that sits on your chest, right? I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'm like literally in my head just swearing and like angry at the sleep paralysis when it's happening to me, because I'm like, oh god, we're doing this again. You're wasting my time. Like, hurry up. It's just like, I'm like, hurry up. Can you get this over with already? It's not like, oh my god, I'm so scared. It's like, I'm so angry that you're wasting my time that could be spent sleeping right now. You know? That's where I'm at with sleep paralysis. It's not something to be scared of. It's something to be frustrated with. I could be asleep. I could be awake. And yet here I am, like, stuck, being unable to move. With you trying to do some creepy stuff to me. Like I mentioned before, I've had one that's probably like more recently. I don't know how recent, probably within the last few years. I could feel like footsteps on my bed from the left to the right, to the left to the right. You know, someone walking above me on my bed, and I can feel them indenting into the bed, like stuff like that. Or one time I'm just hearing like this demonic voice speaking to me while I'm paralyzed. I've had one of those too. And again, it's just like, I'm so over it. It's just like, screw off, dude. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, I'm being serious. I just get mad at this stuff. And just because that was like tangential. Panic attacks. Whatever reason, I feel like I was born with that too, because I was having panic attacks as a child, to the point of getting like basically the boy who cried wolf, like literally, because I would wake up as like a kid, like a single-digit kid, and be like, I feel like I'm dying. My parents would take me to the emergency room. They're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with him. Happen again, take me to the emergency room. There's nothing wrong with him. And then of course after that third time, they're like, go back to bed. It's not something you realize what's really going on until you become an adult, and it's like, oh my god, like I was having panic attacks as a kid, just randomly, somehow, miraculously, and eventually that just became like added up to me having like thousands of them throughout my entire life, to the point where it's like, I mean, you can only have a panic attack so many times in your life to where you kind of just get over it. I feel like I can probably still have one for no reason, and it's not like caused by anything. It's just like out of nowhere, I will just be hit by one. Usually, it has to do with being in like a bed state for whatever reason. But I've had them like in a wakened state, like at school. I've had one sitting in math class, just at my desk, and just out of nowhere, panic attack, to the point where like the guy next to me was asking me if I was all right because he could see. But back then, they were still so severe that I could not speak while one was happening to me. Now I probably can talk. It might be kind of difficult, but if I'm having one, I could probably speak and like tell you what's going on. But yeah, like, so yeah, that's just more info. I mentioned it before, but I'm pretty sure no one's really either sat through to listen to that or just didn't watch those videos at all. But yeah, I've had hundreds of paralysis. I probably will have hundreds more in my lifetime, and I've had thousands of panic attacks, and they suck. But I mean, what can you do? I'm saying thousands because a specific year within the last decade. I don't know what year. I don't remember what year it was. I was having one every night, like one, two, like up to two per day. Essentially, I was having a panic attacks. And it was driving me crazy. I'm not even joking. I was going insane because of it. But again, you can only have it happen to you so often until you get desensitized. Just like all the horror stuff. I've watched so much horror stuff, I'm just desensitized to it all. And I'm desensitized to paralysis now and panic attacks. Well, as much as a person can be desensitized to panic attacks, it's just like, usually you can't tell yourself, oh, I'm just having a panic attack, it's fine. I can kind of do that and like try to just calm down. But I mean, just if you're having a panic attack, your entire body is going into like critical like DEFCON 1. Is that the best one? Is that the bad one? Like 1, is that as worse as it gets? Like, you know, heart rate's going crazy, your limbs are going giving out, your body wants to just unleash all its contents to try to help you get over it, etc., etc. But yeah.
Phenomena which has no definitive scientific explanation was believed to be caused by when the human brain is still awake, but the body remains in its sleeping state, resulting in
Yeah, because there's a chemical that releases that keeps your muscles from moving while you're sleeping, so you don't act out your actions in your dreams. So it's I thought it was just like a state when you're awake or half awake, kind of, but your body is still under the effects of that chemical, and thus it can't really move, but your brain is slightly more awake than it should be.
the lack of muscle moving capabilities. It is believed that approximately between 8 and 50% of people will experience this terrifying incident at least once in their lifetime, whether they remember it
Once. Again, try hundreds for me.
or not. The strange thing about this is the overwhelming number of reports of people who have experienced sleep paralysis have said that they have seen the exact same figure throughout their dreams. The most common
I have not seen the Hat Man. I mean, now that it's kind of like confirmation bias. Now that I know Hat Man's supposed to be here for paralysis, I might just see him. The problem is, I know how to sleep. And by that I mean, I have a blanket over my head when I sleep. The monsters can't get you if you're underneath a blanket. So, duh, obviously. But seriously though, you can't see anything during sleep paralysis if your head is covered. You can't see any, you know, boogeymen if you have a blanket over you. So all you can do is hear and feel, essentially. So I've never seen anything unless it's like the other kind of like dreams where, well, I have seen stuff. I remember there is one that was like actually within the last decade where I was paralyzed, but I was like looking at like a monster at the edge of my bed, but he was in like broad light, like it wasn't in the shadows. Like, it was like a lamp was being shown on this guy, um, this like freak. He wasn't really paying me any attention though. He was like looking off into the side. So I have seen boogeymen while being paralyzed. And at that state, I think it was because I was laying on my back, which I don't do, and the cover wasn't on my head, so my eyes could be in an open state. But again, just sleep with your blanket over your head. Problem solved.
common being.
Let's roll that back a bit. Also, just to add some, not to be, to like get off the scientific side for a second and actually go to the paranormal side. There's also the belief that all of the fabric and each inch of individual thread of a cover, your oogie boogies have to actually get through all of that to try to get to you, to give you nightmares or do any of that stuff to you. So if we want to believe that too, there you go. It's not just, okay, you have the blanket on your head, so if you do have it, your eyes literally aren't seeing anything, so you can't actually see any monsters. And then you have the paranormal side where it's like, okay, well, the ghosts and whatnot actually have a harder time getting to you whilst you're underneath the blanket. So you can have both ends there.
Exact same figure throughout their dreams. The most common being that appears is the Hat Man, or his accomplices, known as the Shadow People. Shadow People have existed.
Shadow People, sure, but like the Hat Man, I've never seen. The only thing I've ever seen is that freak monster. A friend wanted to refer to it as like a djinn, but I don't know if it's a djinn. it's like it was undescribable. It's been so long I couldn't really describe to you what it looked like, but it was crystal clear when I saw it.
Throughout many ancient cultures and religions,
There's a
in ancient
nightmare.
Greek mythology, they were known as the Shades. These were the restless wandering souls of the underworld, which would cling to heroic travellers passing through the caverns of this deathly realm. Shadowy figures have been a staple of our societal ghostly beliefs since the beginning of time, and humans with their curiosities have both been fascinated and horrified by what our imaginations can conjure up, even if it's against their will. But this still doesn't really explain why he or they appear in our sleeping state time and time again.
Well, I mean, shadow people are so vague, so sure, your brain doesn't have to work hard to imagine a shadow person, just a black humanoid figure. Like, that's probably as easy as it gets, right? If we're talking scientifically. Hat man, I don't know why. It's just, if your brain wants to give a person a hat, then the same thing. It's just a black silhouette with the only discerning feature being a hat, because that's the easiest thing you could see. You're not thinking about the clothes. You gotta be like, oh, the coat man. I mean, he could be wearing a coat, but because it's just a black silhouette, you can't see it. But if your brain wants to give something a hat, but keep it a black silhouette, you can clearly discern that they're wearing a hat.
Art Bell was a popular radio figure and
This guy
hosted a
again.
show called Coast to Coast from 1988 until 2003. Coast to Coast was centered around the topics of the paranormal and conspiratorial. On their 2001 broadcast, they took calls from viewers to discuss the phenomena of sleep paralysis and the shadow people. Eventually, Bell had listeners submit their drawings of what figures they could remember seeing from these episodes of their sleep paralysis. Here are some of these drawings.
Black silhouette. Black silhouette. Going fast. Silhouetted, cloaked, hatted man.
There he is.
I'm 36 now. I saw this when I was 10 years old. Front view. So cloaked figure with hat. Cloaked figure is even easier to do because it's just a black, like a black silhouetted blob, and then a head with a hat on.
Even today, people tell their stories of their encounters with this shadowy voyeur. Here is one from the Reddit user, Russell West. I don't know about any of you, but who else has experienced the phenomena known as the Hat Man? A shadowy being wearing a trench coat and a wide-brimmed hat, shrouded in darkness, who often visits you while you sleep. I've had some very vivid Hatman interactions in the past. Whenever I have sleep paralysis is where I experience the most activity. There were two incidents that really stick out to me. The first, he was standing at the foot of my bed, and I was using all of my strength to kick him with my foot. But the moment I got my foot to move, he vanished and I could finally wake up. But the second time was far scarier. I woke up to him standing directly above my bed, staring down at me with these hollow, see-through eyes that almost appeared like blinding white lights. He kept bending closer to me as if to observe me. Then he reached out and grabbed me, and I woke up in such a panic. My heart was racing, and for weeks I was afraid to fall asleep, especially with the lights off. Now, whenever I go to bed, I make sure to avoid sleeping on my back as to not see the Hat Man or any of the other shadowy figures watching me while I sleep in my room. What are your experiences?
Like I said earlier, like I don't sleep on my back, and that one time I saw the thing was on my back just randomly, and I can contest to that. Yeah, like don't sleep on your back if you don't want sleep paralysis. There's something about sleeping on your back that's just not good for that. You just gotta figure out what way you can sleep for it not to happen. Because at one point, sleeping on my right side would cause like the sensation of, I don't think it was like falling, because I know a lot of people feel like they're falling when they're trying to go to sleep. It's not that. It's like the rush of movement, even though you're not moving, which you can consider to be falling, but I don't feel like I'm falling. It's just like the room is speeding up. And if I let that go through and not wake myself up, I will be paralyzed. So I have to like make sure that if I'm sleeping and I hear like the room starting to accelerate, I have to like not let it go. Like I have to wake myself up and like move around to somewhere else. Because if I do that, I'm going to be put into a paralysis state. Because I'm not going to be able to fully go to sleep, but my muscles are going to be paralyzed at that point. Like I'm not going to be able to fall asleep. I'm going to fall asleep into a half sleep paralysis state. And it was like almost like clockwork, where if I laid it on my right side in a certain way, it was just paralysis. Right? I could like possibly replicate it. I don't really have that issue now, but again, just if you don't want paralysis, I think figure out if there's like a trigger for a way your body's being laid, and don't sleep on your back. Just period. Don't do that. Granted, if you want to be supernatural, I mean, nightmares are supposed to lay on your stomach, right? Your chest. So if you're exposing your chest outward to the world, you're basically just saying, please sit on my chest. Please sit on my stomach, right? To a nightmare. But again, that's just like if you want to go the paranormal route. The scientific route is just, I don't know what it is for sleeping on your back. Just don't do it. Sleep on your side. Because of course they can't sit on your chest. Back to the paranormal side. Can't sit on your chest if you're on your side, or if you're, even if you're like on your stomach, which I kind of am, like stomach/side. Then they can get on your back, I guess. But would you rather something be on your back or on your stomach, next to your face? I assume people want their back to be attacked rather than their front, but I don't know. Maybe people would prefer their front than their back, like whilst being paralyzed. Also, on your stomach you can't see anything as well. So
now, although these shadowy figures mostly appear when people are having bouts of sleep paralysis, people have even stated to see them without sleeping.
Sure, but
they say that they have seen him and them lurking in the corners of their room during broad daylight. And even one Reddit user claims to have caught the Hat Man on camera.
Here we go. I mean, you can't believe any of that stuff. You just superimpose that. It's also just
Not
a shadow reflecting on the
known
window.
about this phenomena as a whole, though science has a few theories. One is that it is a collective state of subconscious activity that our brains conjure up when in a panic state of not being able to move in the dark. This leads us to see terrifying shadows in our peripherals due to the societal conditioning throughout centuries as to what ghostly figures should appear like. Hence why the collective shadow people all appear to be similar all over the world. And another theory is related to a much more sinister reality. One being the use.
Okay, I was gonna say use. Now I don't know where she's going. Use of, where is she gonna go with that? I was gonna say is some sort of what is it? That theory, or like spooky theory. I forgot what it was. Like, there's a reason why we have some sort of function to our bodies or our minds, and it's like a reflex or something to something that used to be around that we should be like really scared of. And it's like why do we still have this sort of like brain function or fear or something? Oh, is it just like the uncanny valley? Is it just that? It's like, why are we so scared of the uncanny valley? And you can go the route of, okay, well, why is it like that? Why does our brain do that? It would imply that there was something hundreds of thousands of years ago to be afraid of. and like our evolution still has us being afraid of something like that. You know, that's what that is. Like, so why is the uncanny valley so uncomfortable or spooky? That's just like a weird like little horror theory about that. If you don't know what I mean by the uncanny valley, it's like humanoids that are not quite right or like close enough to being real, but they just, you can tell there's something wrong. There's something off about them. Like the Mandela catalog has to do with a little bit of the uncanny valley, but that's like to an extreme, to the point where it's like you're beyond uncanny, right? But like robots right now, like any of the silicone covered robots that we have now would be uncanny. You look at them and like, oh, this doesn't look right, and sometimes that can be spooky. And again, you can argue some sort of scientific reasoning is that, wait a minute, our brains work in a way to make for a reason. It's like we are scared of that because there's a reason to be scared of it. Thus, maybe there was something a long time ago that we had to be worried about, and maybe that's not gone. You don't know.
Of illicit substances. Many methamphetamine
Or using drugs. Wait, hold on. That doesn't make sense. Going back to that to give a scientific reason to that, the uncanny stuff, rather than just being supernatural for a second. Neanderthals and other humanoids still existed back then too, and like I don't remember if we like fought with Neanderthals and the Neanderthals went extinct because of us, the Homo sapien, but that could just be it too, because Neanderthals don't look exactly like us; they're a bit off, right? That could be where the uncanny valley comes from. It's like you're a Homo sapien looking at a Neanderthal or another of the humanoid species and being like, you're not like me, so you're an enemy, right? That it could just come from that, right? That's where the uncanny valley comes from. It is not as spooky as it seems, but like that's like the most logical thing I can come up with right now, rather than just being some spooky, unknown reason, some sort of thing, like I guess like doppelganger race or Mandela catalog kind of thing.
is related to a much more sinister reality, one being the use of illicit substances. Many methamphetamine users have also claimed to see these figures during episodes of severe sleep deprivation. And more recently, due to a disturbing trend, people who have been incorrectly using the allergy medication Benadryl have reported having hallucinations in which they experience the Hat Man in specific. So, perhaps it is all as innocent as science suggests. Maybe these shadowy figures are nothing more than a figment of the panicked imagination. Or maybe it is some ghostly visitor from a realm that we can't fathom. One thing is for certain though. If you see the Hat Man tonight when you're sleeping, try to wake up.
I mean, no one said he's done anything to them, so I mean, it's not like he's anything to be scared of. Famous last words. Redditors, hold on. Unexplained stalking featured video. Featured Vivio? Vivek? Featured Vivek? What? Huh? The Whistler?
I've been waiting a long time to tell Reddit the full story of the Whistler. This story requires many details, but it is unexplainable, creepy, and 100% true. I also have video evidence.
Okay, so this is like a guest star here for this video. She's leaving and letting this guy talk.
When I was about 8 years old, I was taking my dog for a walk through the neighborhood with my mum. It was maybe 11 PM. We live next to a swamp woods area on the edge of our neighborhood in Lansing, Michigan. I remember it being very silent and slightly windy. From down in the swamp, we heard somebody whistling at us. It sounded sort of like a bird, but each whistle was different enough where the lack of consistency made it human-like.
Is this Michigan? Okay, I was like, was this Kukui? Or, no, what is her name? Not a La Llorona, right? It's something else. I don't think remember her name right, but we're over by the water, we got some sort of singing.
The whistle sounded higher, then lower. I can't really describe it. Mum had a concerned, slightly terrified look on her face and grabbed my hand and said that we should go inside quickly. I didn't understand because I was too young, but seeing my mum freak out made me freak out too. After a while though, I kind of forgot about it.
Okay, let's see if we can pause this with a... I remember it being very silent and slightly windy from down in the blah swamp. Somebody whistling at us. Like, you know, it's beckoning, I guess. Sounds sort of like a bird. Different enough where the lack of intensity made it human-like. Okay. So it still could just be human, like being whistled by humans, which humans are just... I mean, humans are real, so you need to be worried about them.
2 years later, I was taking my dog out again, late at night. There's a large bush that could easily obscure a person behind it just next to the front door. As I was finishing the walk, the whistling noise started again. Same pitches, same inconsistent human-like tones. As soon as I heard it, a chill went down my spine, as I remembered exactly the feeling of seeing my mum, terrified, looking down into the swamp at something I couldn't see. Maybe she couldn't either. I ran inside as fast as possible.
What was this called? I mentioned her, but like, it's a woman who snatches the kids, is it not? We're talking about a child right now. Is this not a child snatcher? The computer's too slow right now.
And I thought about it less and less. I told only a handful of people, and eventually it slipped from my mind. Fast forward to last summer. I'm 24, started dating my girl Sarah. We moved out to South Dakota for work. For Independence Day, we decided to go to Pierre, SD, and watch the fireworks along the bank of the Missouri River. There was a free camping spot behind a hospital where you could pitch your tent, hang out, and see the fireworks up the river. We were near the end of the campground, and there were very few people around.
Kind of topical, because 4th of July was literally yesterday. Well, 4th of July was still happening whilst I was recording this video, because it's been an hour. An hour ago was 4th of July still. It's already the 5th now, but... So yeah, kind of coincidental that we're talking about fireworks and the 4th of July.
As it was getting dark, the fireworks began. They were pretty far away, so the illumination they brought was very little. Thus, we had to sit right at the edge of the river to be able to see them. A huge thunderhead was moving in and a storm was imminent, so the air seemed electric and the wind was picking up. The atmosphere was eerie to say the least. The police boats herded all the other boats off of the river and had left our area to do that elsewhere. Most of the other campers walked up by the river to have a better view of the fireworks, but Sarah and I stayed back and were drinking PBR tall boys and kicking it. Suddenly, we heard the sound of a paddle methodically dipping into the water. We saw a figure steering a canoe about 20 meters offshore. Sarah decided to go get more beers from the car, leaving me alone to stare at this mystery person. And then, of course...
Why would she just abandon you? I feel like she left you to die. Like, she did that on purpose. She was trying to kill you.
They whistled at me. My entire body was frozen and covered in goosebumps. It was the exact same whistler from my childhood, more than a decade earlier. I looked at the figure. It was much too dark to discern who it could be. They were wearing a hat, and they were perpendicular to the shore from me. He stopped paddling, turned the canoe to face directly at me, and whistled. I was so frightened, I stood up and shouted at them, "Who are you?" They didn't say anything, just whistled a couple more times, turned the canoe 180 degrees, and paddled out of sight. I'm a videographer, so already had my camera by my side and was taking videos of the fireworks. As the canoe was almost out of sight, I grabbed my camera and got a shot of them whistling as they went away. When Sarah came back from getting beers, she was very confused as to why I was so freaked out. When I explained, she was freaked out a bit too. I was convinced we would both be murdered that night. How did this whistling person follow me after 14 years all the way to South Dakota? Was it a coincidence? Why was it the same whistling noise? Who was that person? And where did they go?
I mean, it's just whistling. It's really like trying to say like these whistles are all the same and not just different people, all just coincidentally.
So many questions still unanswered. To this day, I'm more afraid of being outside in the dark where I might hear that whistling again. I'm open to any explanations. If there's interest, I will find a plug and edit a little video of the fireworks and the whistling noise and the canoe disappearing. I'm in Uganda currently, and the internet is spotty where I am, so I'll do my best.
Why are you all the way over there? Running away from the whistling across the world?
Okay, finally. I spent all afternoon uploading this video. Here is the link.
Okay. I'm commenting on the video so far. I don't know if you can even see this guy or the whistler. The water sounds like sound effects. The movement of the camera also seems like 3D. It's so dark I can't tell, but it felt very video gamey slash 3D. Just roll this back so I'm not like, it just happens to look that way. But again, those water sounds they don't match what we're looking at. But it's just, maybe they do.
When I was still getting shots of the fireworks, I heard the...
Narrator, can you shut up? We're trying to listen to the fireworks. Or not the fireworks, to the whistling. But seriously though, it's hard to tell, but...
Whistling starting. I was too afraid at that moment to point the camera directly at the canoe. So just turned my microphone towards it and kept a low-key shot facing downriver towards the fireworks. If you wear headphones, you can hear it better. It's the two-note whistle. High, then low. You can hear me ask my girlfriend, "Are you whistling? Is that you?" She said no, but I wasn't sure, so I told her to stop it.
It's so...
because I was getting scared.
distorted.
The last shot,
Can't see anything.
I boosted the brightness as much as I could and still make out the person in the canoe. It looks like they're wearing a red sweater or something.
Now, of course, people had their own opinions as to what it was OP had been experiencing.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything. I'll roll that back. Watch it again. I might as well try to get my expertise in here because I said I think it's 3D and not real, but you don't necessarily need to fake this. Just that sounds so fake, the water. Because I know about 3D modeling and whatnot, I might as well like try to analyze it that way. It's hard to tell the distance, but I guess he is kind of close to the water. Like the bob there felt fake. Speaking of uncanny, like this video feels uncanny. Is the problem. And like the sky looks like a skybox, like a HDRI. And I can't tell about those fireworks, they just look like nothing. They could just be like a particle effect.
When I was still getting shots of the fireworks, I heard the whistling starting. I was too afraid at that moment to point the camera directly at the canoe.
That lightning, like the lightning in the sky. I can't tell if that looks nice or not.
I was too afraid at that moment to point the camera directly at the canoe.
I don't know,
So
the lightning is pretty good, so maybe it is
key shot facing down river towards the fireworks.
pretty real. This one's kind of hard to tell. This one looks like real, but the truck here looks weird. Yeah, I don't know. Like I can show you, I've made like something similar. Like my Be Right Back screen, which I have not used here because why would I use it? You've probably never seen it if you only watch my reactions after dark. But like if I'm live streaming and I want to be right back, I will use this screen to transition to. I probably should mute the audio though, but you can see we have water there and water effect sounds. It's similar to that. You can see we have like decent looking water. I mean, this is the most horsepower my computer can output for like rendering something out. We have a city in the background lit up. And the moon is like reflecting off of the water here. And then you have like wind effects on the BRB and the ramen sign there. That sign says ramen. So yeah, I actually have expertise in this to like actually diagnose that first shot, because again, I've made this by hand, this scene here in Blender. So again, I can analyze it in that kind of way, but maybe it's real. Maybe it's not just fake. I was saying it's possible to make a water scene like that very easily.
It's the two-note whistle, high then low. You can hear me ask my girlfriend, "Are you whistling? Is that you?" She said no, but I wasn't sure, so I told her to stop it, because I was getting scared. The last shot, I boosted the brightness as much as I could, and still made...
Let's skip forward a bit.
Now, of course, people had their own opinions as to what it was OP had been experiencing. Some stated that it must have been a bird, and others speculated that it could have been a creature from the lake.
A kappa?
But one commenter mentioned something a little more unsettling.
What? Because I thought it was like, is it La Llorona? Or Kukui? Kukui, I think we kind of just use around here for like a word for ghost, but I think there actually is just like a Kukui, like an actual Kukui main monster. But I think a lot of people around here, it's like Spanish, use it just to mean like ghosts and just monsters, or whatever. The Kukuis are going to get you, right? But I think La Llorona, or if that's her name, let me just make sure that's right. Yeah, it was that. That was correct. La Llorona, though that's the weeping woman or something like that. I don't know. So it wouldn't necessarily be her. That's kind of like not right. But just I don't know what the whistling could be if it's not something like that. It's just the first thing that popped in my mind was that it's not a kappa. Kappa's Japanese. I don't know what kind of water monsters we got. Don't say skin. Oh my god! I swear to God, if they say skinwalker. Like a lot of these things, like the answer is always like, oh my god, was it a skinwalker? Was it a skinwalker? I don't know how many times Nuke's top 5 has like been like, was it a skinwalker? Right? Like, I swear to God, if I hear the word skinwalker.
They mention a Venezuelan legend called El Silbin.
Okay,
or
something
as it roughly translates to.
Something I've never heard of. So no Kukui, no Llorona, no Skinwalker. At least it's something new.
The Whistling Man.
Okay. Apropos.
So the story of El Silbin goes is that it was a young man who had killed his father as revenge because he had killed his wife. After he'd been found out, his grandfather had him tied to a pole in the middle of a field and had him whipped. He had his wounds cleaned with rubbing alcohol.
A stacking of events. Father kills your wife, so you kill father, so your father now has you whipped. He doesn't kill you, because we have like there could have been like such a stack of events, you know. Kills your wife, you kill your dads kill you. And then what happens to your dad's dad? Who does your dad's get killed by? Who's left to kill your dad's dad?
And released them to 2 rabid and hungry dogs. Apparently, El Silban has a particular whistling, similar to the music notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, in that order, going up to F and then going low to B. It's said that when the whistling is heard close, then you're in no danger, because he's far away. But when the whistling sounds far, then he's close. It is said that the whistling announces the death of those who hear it, and that he can be anywhere at any time. It seems that the only thing that can save a person that hears it is the bark of a dog. Now, whilst this may seem rather far-fetched...
So, Scenario 1, no dog. Scenario 2, dog. Scenario 3, no dog.
Opie replied to this comment and said that every time he'd encountered the whistling, he's had a dog with him.
No. You didn't say that, right? I guess we're just gonna like say, oh yeah, I had a dog when I was with my mom, and we already know he was walking his dog for the second scenario. Like, there just happened to be a dog at the summer thing. Okay, you're just grasping.
First 2 times his own dog had been with him, and an occurrence that happened to him the summer before. There was a family on the road that just so happened to have a dog with them. Now, Opie brought up this story to his mother and left us with one last reply.
It's been a while, and I apologise for that. I'm back in the US now, and I asked my mum about it. I sat her down and played the video for her. She honestly doesn't remember anything like that happening. I wish I had something more exciting to say. Alas, it must remain a mystery.
I mean, if we're taking that first scenario as real, it's like, yeah, she's a woman walking her child. Like, she's probably scared of, like, some stranger trying to scoop either of y'all up. Like, that's the best case scenario, realistic scenario. Like, being whistled at nighttime, you'd assume some sort of, you know, hoodlum is coming to come get you, right? Till death do us part. Till death do you part.
Imagine this. Your partner goes to work and you are left home alone. So, you start your day with your daily chores, wanting to make the house clean and cozy for the 2 of you. You start cleaning the living room, then the kitchen, then deciding to clean under the sink. A fairly mundane task for most. Then imagine spotting something unusual, something that definitely shouldn't be under the sink.
Yeah, under the sink. Also, when I was referring to like the extra editing issues doing to make it like seem old, this is the effect I'm talking about. This little box over here, and then like whatever's happening over here, the vignetting as well, to like centralize it into like this 4x3 video. But this thing, I see this a lot. You could get this filter on Instagram too, I think. Like, there's an Instagram filter that uses this box, and I've seen a lot of people on YouTube do this as well. It's not anything new.
And something that you've never seen before. I'm sure that your blood would run cold. This is exactly what happened to the Reddit user IDK. What even is this? They posted this
Okay, I was like, where is this? What was it saying? But yeah, what even is this?
Story in the r/relationship advice subreddit, quite clearly confused as to what she had uncovered.
Is she?
The story is as follows. Hello everyone, throwaway account here. Thank you ahead for taking the time to share my problem with me.
Why are you using such a... I mean, it sounds like she's in a sink. Is that on purpose? Is that why you did it like that?
So, I am pretty new to the USA and I'm not working yet, as I have some time before my employment authorization is granted. My husband and I met in my home country when he was there working, and I moved here to be with him. Everything is pretty peachy, though obviously my hands get a little bit restless sometimes. My husband, let's call him Ben, spends about 50 hours a week at work, sometimes a little more. Anyway, I was busy cleaning under the kitchen sink this afternoon while Ben was at work and found the biscuit tin. I was curious about it. It was so
Biscuit tin? You mean the place where you put your thread and sewing needles in? Is that what you found?
far back that I thought it was perhaps something that he'd lost or was from a previous tenant. It was dusty, but the digital camera inside was not.
Oof.
I read on the camera and found many photos of my things. Pictures of my purse hanging on the dining room chair, pictures of my makeup in my cosmetics box, pictures of my coat and scarf on the coat hooks, and pictures of my key on the kitchen counter. Always of my stuff and always in pairs. I can't find a cord to attach it to the computer or charger. I looked through all of the photos quickly in case he noticed the battery drain, and turned it off and was careful to put it back the way I found it. And well, I don't know what to do next.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Camera taking a picture of all your things. You could try to create a best case scenario. Like what could that be? Taking pictures of all your things and where they're at. I don't know. Like, what would be the best case scenario? Just like have evidence of where your stuff is at in case it gets stolen, or what you have in case it gets stolen, or he's like gonna surprise you with, I don't know, new stuff. Is like, or like, okay, I know these are the kind of stuff she likes on her keys. This is the kind of clothing she likes. This is the kind of cosmetics she likes, etc., etc. So if I want to buy her a bunch of new stuff, it needs to be like this stuff, or I don't know. That's just like thinking like what if it's just wholesome, right? If it's not, I don't know, what is he gonna kill her? I don't know.
I don't know exactly what I'm looking at. I don't even know how I'm supposed to feel. If I should confront him? Is there anything worth confronting him about? He doesn't seem the type to have any kind of compulsive tic. But most importantly, why would a person do this?
Theories? Opiuhm?
This story is certainly confusing for most, and would leave a sense of uneasiness in anyone who read it. The users who commented seemed just as confused as the original poster in regards to this situation. Although taking photos in your own house could seem a relatively normal thing to do, an underlying sense of something more sinister happening seems apparent. Why are the photos on the camera of only her items? Why are they all taken in pairs? And most confusing, why has he hidden the camera under the sink in an old biscuit tin? It seems as though he didn't want his wife to find the camera or the photos on it. But why?
Again, like I said, maybe because he wants to surprise her with something. Or like, hey, you can hide Christmas presents or something. It's like kind of like that. Again, we're just going with the devil's advocate scenario where he's not doing anything bad. So he could have just hid it at work. He spends so much time at work. He probably has a place to put his things at work. So well, I don't know if he was really trying to hide it, like maximum security away from her. He would have hid it at work. So he wasn't. He didn't want her to find it, but if she did find it, it wasn't the end of the world. I would assume if it's still at the house, like there's other places to hide it that she would not find it, right? So I feel like he wasn't really trying that hard to hide it from her. Thus, hiding Christmas presents
One
in the
user
house
commented that
scenario.
perhaps he is secretly wearing her clothes and putting on her makeup, and
Okay.
that he's secretly cross-dressing and doesn't want his wife to know.
Yeah, that's
This would
fine.
perhaps explain the photos of her makeup, and at a stretch would explain the coat and the scarf.
I mean, that makes sense, just so he knows, like, he's taking a picture of it before he did what she did, right? She took the camera, made sure she got through it so he wouldn't know that the battery's drained, and put it back exactly where it was. Like, he's putting her stuff on, using her stuff, and putting it back exactly where it was left in the photo so she wouldn't be suspicious. Though, that doesn't really... Does it make sense with the keys? It does make sense with everything else but the keys. But, that is plausible. Like, that's fine. I don't see anything wrong with that theory.
They theorise that these photos are to ensure that he puts all the items back in their original position. But if this is her husband, surely he would remember where something like her coat and scarves would go. This theory is plausible.
Well, that's not where they should go. I mean, where they should go to the T, like, like exactly how they were left, like to the exact wrinkle on the clothing is what we're saying. That's why the pictures are like that. The exact keys being placed in a certain order, right? The exact place where these cosmetics should be. And specifically even with the cosmetics, you have like hundreds of stuff on the table, possibly depending on the woman, right? So you need to know where all 100 of those things go and which way they're turned, and which way they're turned, they're faced, etc. If they're knocked down, if they're up.
But I don't think that this is the definitive answer.
Sure.
Others
that's just a acceptable, wholesome reason, right?
That the fact the photos were taken in pairs could have simply been an accident. Either he was testing out a new camera and held the shutter button for too long, resulting in two photographs being taken at the same time, or that the settings on his camera created a RAW file and then a compressed one.
Sure.
This could seem like a viable reason, but again, it doesn't explain the fact that the camera was quite clearly hidden away. If photography was a new hobby of his and he wanted to test out the camera, surely there would be no reason to hide it from his wife.
New theory. He was taking pictures with the camera to make sure that the camera worked well, but the camera is the gift to the wife, and that's why he's hiding it from her, because it's going to be a gift. New theory.
One of the more sinister theories, and in my opinion, the one that might be the possible answer, is paranoia on her husband's end.
Sure.
Some were stating that perhaps her husband was taking photos of her things as before and after comparisons to see if they've moved position at all. To see if his wife...
Oh, okay. That actually makes sense. Now that... Unfortunately, that makes more sense. You'd hope it to be like a wholesome thing or something silly, but to be like, okay, this is where my wife's coats were exactly, this is where my wife's keys were exactly, this is where my wife's perfumes were exactly, to see if she's going out and sleeping with other men, because I spend all day at work, and who knows what she's doing for 50 hours that I'm at work. That is incredibly plausible, possibly more so than the other ones, because it actually, all the notes get pressed on that one. It's like, why is it specifically her coat and her keys and her perfumes, right? Or her makeups, whatever, cosmetics. It's to see if she's used them on any day, right? If she's put her coat on, if she's taken her keys out to leave the house, if she's gotten dolled up to go out on top of that. So yeah, unfortunately, like, oof, that seems like unfortunately, the Occam's razor one. He's just seeing if she's cheating. He's over paranoid about her cheating on him, I guess. Because he is gone, like,
was having an affair.
More hours than the average that you're supposed to be working 40 hours a day, or not 40 hours a day, 40 hours a week, And he's working apparently 50, if not more.
There. To see if his wife was having an affair. Some stated that this is a common tactic in people who believe that their partner is being unfaithful. To document if things such as keys have been moved, to see if she'd been out during the day at all. This could be the reason, especially since OP states that he works 50 hours a week, and that OP is the one who spends most of her time in the house. Her husband could be tracking if she had left the house during the day by comparing before and after photos. People then asked that OP check timestamps on the photographs to prove this, that perhaps some photos were taken before he left the house and then another when he came home, but OP never followed up with an answer.
"7 years of silence."
No follow-up in the comments.
7 years of silence, does that mean silence and then no silence, or just there's been nothing since then?
Whatsoever. Although suspicions of cheating seems like the most reasonable explanation for the photos, especially the secrecy surrounding the camera, it doesn't make it a normal thing to do and seems controlling on the part of the husband. As I've stated before, the original post has been deleted and there's been no follow-up in the 7 years since. I hope in the end that OP confronted their partner about the camera and that the issue was resolved between them. I hope that for the sake of OP and their marriage, that there is a more mundane explanation for the photographs and the hidden camera. But as of now, I guess this will remain a mystery. Thank you to anyone who stuck by this far. Although this...
Yeah, this is her, like icon for her channel. I don't think you can see it. You can't see it. I guess it's just this rendered eyeball. Though it looks like the eyeball for her account looks better than this, so I think this is just like a... Because it's animated, the rendering is like worse. But the actual eyeball here for her icon, it looks slightly better. But it's really small, so you can't really see it. So maybe it's not, but this seems like lower quality than her actual icon as a professional 3D modeler myself.
This is a compilation of some of my older work. It's all been private for quite a while now, and I'm under the assumption that most of my new viewers and subscribers haven't seen many of them yet. It's a small homage to the hard work I put in at the very beginning of my channel, and I suppose, in a way, it's to usher in a new era of higher quality videos. Some of you may also...
Okay, so this video isn't... Also, what the heck? Oh, this is the... here we go. Here's the high quality eyeball render. Like I was saying, this is so much better looking than what she has on the screen right now. But we will no longer be able to see that. Okay, so this channel has been around for a while, possibly, but this is just her like nuking her channel and starting over with this video. Okay, that makes more sense with all these old stuff coming in.
Also have noticed that my screen name has been slightly tweaked. This is to simply stay cautious of YouTube's community guidelines so that no issues occur to my channel in the future.
Yeah, because
anyways,
it's not the
take
exact
care,
spelling.
Everyone, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.
Okay, there we go. So that was, I guess, the reimagining of this channel, Opiuhm. I guess there's some lore back there that we did not know about. She's apparently been around for who knows how long, but all those videos are nuked. You can still find one of her videos that isn't there. She only has 3, but I feel like there's a secret 4th one you can find if you poke around enough. Granted, it's newer, so I don't know why it's hidden. But yeah. She only has 20,000 subscribers, which is weird for someone who apparently was doing this for longer than just a year. I don't know. Like, what happens for her to nuke her channel and then start over for these stories again? I don't know. Yeah, all that stuff was interesting. You got a lot of talk out of me for the like sleep paralysis and the panic attack story. Yeah, pretty okay. I don't know what the next one is. I forgot. I think it might just be Horrors from Around the Web Part 2. And then her third video is about Appalachia. I think we can just end it there because my eyes are hurting pretty badly from sitting here and staring at the screen with the lights in my eyes this whole time. So I think I will just leave this here as is. Hopefully people watched this and enjoyed this one, even though it's not Rotten Mango. I know that any video that isn't Rotten Mango is not going to get very many views, or at least compared to the Rotten Mango videos, but I hope that there's still people out there who wants to see stuff like this in the rad section of my channel. I do enjoy the stuff. I mean, we got, what, 2 hours out of this video, this 1 hour video, so that should say a lot there. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers, so think about becoming a member, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because we're working on watch time and subscribers, and if we're thrown as well. And shout out to the members, EmmyStarr with you. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Tune to the next episode. Like, subscribe, comment. Another do. See ya.